What's going on, guys? This is RichaadEB here, and today I am bringing you week 5 of the YOLO League. This will be split up separately into Team Builder and Battle, because I have time to do that for this battle, which is nice. So, this is going to be just the Team Builder for my battle against iPro and the Manectric United. His links will be in the description to Twitter, YouTube, etc., as well as the links to YoFizz, who is the convener for this league, and I implore you to go check them both out. In any case, I'm going to get straight into the team matchup here. I don't think I need to explain much more about what this league is or anything. So, the team that he can bring is Tyranitar, Rhinoceros, Keldeo, Gourgeist, Blastoise, Taunty, Metagross, Megalodino, Dragalge, and Stoutland. So he does have the Sand Offense core, which I'm looking to hope to try and exploit. If he does bring Sand, I can beat it. I have a couple of things which actually kind of donk on it. For example, the Gardevoir you see in front of you. I don't have great switch-ins to Keldeo, for example, or Megalodino is a bit of a pain to take down, and Rhinoceros is actually a massive problem for my team. He brings like physically defensive, Calm Mind Rhinoceros. He has quite a few opportunities to set up. He can switch into things like my Megalop. He can switch into things like Gardevoir you see, etc. It's just going to be not an easy time to try and take him on. So, the first one that you see here is a very offensive Gardevoir. This is so I can take a Bullet Punch potentially from the Metagross, because I do have enough speed to outspeed it. I also have enough speed to outspeed Adamant Stoutland, so if he brings Adamant Choice Band in the sand, I will Trace Sand Rush, outspeed it, and then can either Destiny Bond or Moonblast depending on what health it is at. So I'm running Calm Mind, Moonblast, Shadow Ball because his only Fairy Resist is that Metagross. And so I figured I didn't really need the other dual stat, like it hits Dragalge a little bit harder, and that's literally it. And if I can switch in and trace adaptability from Dragalge, then Moonblast is going to do plenty to that thing anyway. I have Calm Mind to try and set up a +1 Shadow Ball, does 2-shot that Metagross even if it's bulky. I will need to try and sort that thing out, like predict it to come in, go for Shadow Ball, get big damage off, then maybe hit with the Berry, go for Shadow Ball again, and kill it potentially, that kind of thing. Got Trace because, as always, Trace is just a really nice ability. I can Trace Frisk from Gourgeist and see what item it has. I can Trace Magic Guard or Regenerator from like Rhinoceros, or Regenerator from regular or Dino before it Mega Evolves, or Adaptability as I said. I can Trace Regenerator from Tornado's T. Lots of really good abilities I can get. And Moonblast and Shadow Ball basically does enough to his team. If I end up in a Calm Mind wall with Rhinoceros, which could potentially happen if I set up Calm Mind and he switches it in, or something like that, we both start Calm Minding up, he will have Psyshock which will beat me, but that's part of why I'm running Destiny Bond, because Moonblast will do a lot, especially if I'm at +1 relative to him. And if I think he's just going to take me out, I can Destiny Bond and get rid of that threat straight away. I did originally have like Wish or Sub and stuff like that on there, but I think Destiny Bond might be better for a bit of a surprise factor to outspeed something like the Rhinoceros or the Metagross before they revenge kill me, get off the Destiny Bond, and get rid of them. Either that or force a switch or something. So that was the first one on my team. The second one on my team is my best possible Keldeo switch in, and that is Roserade. So, running a very interesting spread. This is basically the spread that allows me to take its hits the best possible, with EVs basically optimized. Thanks to Eric Clements, who I will also leave links in the description to. I played him in like week 2 of this. He's in Fizz's front office, he's in my front office now, well, sort of front office, I don't use it too much. But he basically suggested this spread, worked it out, and was like, hey, this does really well against Keldeo, you might want to bring it. And I was like, I will bring it, thanks. So, shout out to him for that set. Spikes, because Spikes do a lot more damage to his team than Toxic Spikes. He only has one Spike immunity, I believe, which is Tornado's Therian, apart from Rhinoceros with Magic Guard, of course. If he does bring that set, if he brings Regenerator, I can whittle that down. Everything else on his team I can whittle down with Spikes, whereas Toxic Spikes won't affect the Metagross, and Dragalge can potentially just get rid of them. So I wanted a little bit more chip damage. I want Synthesis because I want to be able to heal up on the Keldeo, Natural Cure in case I get burned. Then Sludge Bomb and Giga Drain is just really solid coverage for his team. I can't really touch the Dragalge or the Metagross, but everything else takes decent damage from this thing. I actually still 2-hit KO or potentially 2-hit KO physically defensive Mega or Dino, which is really nice. I guaranteed to go after either spikes or stealth rocks, so that's really cool. And you will notice his only form of hazard removal is Blastoise. If he doesn't bring Blastoise, I can spike, stack up, get really good chip damage on things. And if he does bring Blastoise, this thing can Giga Drain it and get off a big chunk of damage. Even though I'm not invested, Roserade is still very, very strong on that special side. So that's going to be our Roserade. Another portion of my bulk core, you will notice I'm bringing a lot more bulk this week. Part of that is because I'm trying to stall break some of his bulkier things, and one of my main stall breaker is Subtoxic Zapdos. So full credits to Schady for this set. I actually had a lot of help building this team because I was really struggling to find a good win condition. And I knew I wanted to bring Zapdos. I originally had a Choice Scarf one because I wanted to outspeed Taunty and Keldeo, and then change it to a bulky one to beat the likes of Metagross, and so I could just have a good switch in to Mega Odino, Blastoise, to Gourgeist, to Rainiclus potentially, a lot of things like that. And then eventually change it to this set that you see, which is Subtoxic rather than I had like Sub, Roost, 2 attacks. No, I had Roost, 2 attacks, and Roar, I think, to stop Carmine setup. But this actually works pretty well. I'm running Static because I believe Pressure does not actually use up your opponent's healing move PP. So with the investment I have, a Dazzling Gleam from Mega Odino is guaranteed to not break my sub, and if it goes for Hyper Voice, then I'm sitting behind the sub anyway, because it goes through the sound-based moves. And then I can Toxic it, I can Thunderbolt for chip damage, etc. I also won't have a sub broken by anything that Gourgeist chooses to go for except for a Rock Slide, and I don't really think he's going to bring Rock Slide. It's not fantastic coverage for my team for a Gourgeist. I can also, if he does bring Regenerator or Uniclus, which I don't think he will, I'm expecting Magic Guard, but just in case, I can stall that thing out as well. I have that little bit of speed investment is enough to outspeed a max speed Jolly Tyranitar. And the reason for that is, if he brings it in and I know for a fact it's not Scarfed, then I can Roost up before he goes to Stone Edges, I can get good damage off with like Subtoxic Thunderbolt shenanigans, etc. And I can potentially 1v1 that thing, which is really nice. I have Thunderbolt over Volt Switch because I want to be able to do damage from behind a sub, and also Volt Switch does not take out a Keldeo, like it has no chance to, whereas Thunderbolt has a decent chance to take out a Keldeo, so that's nice. And other than that, yeah, this is another bulky mon with still good special attacks, so it's still going to be doing decent damage to things, and I can basically just stall break some of his mons and whittle his team down for the next 3 things you are about to see. Coming up now, we have the remaining wall breakers of my team, and the first one is a Choice Banded Excadrill. So the reason I'm running Banded is because I didn't want to run Life Orb to take recoil, and I wanted to be able to just fire off really, really powerful hits. A Banded Iron Head will take out the likes of Taunty after Stealth Rocks. It does so much damage to Mega Ordino, meaning I don't particularly care about that thing being set up with Carmine as long as I have Excadrill around. And Choice Banded Earthquake actually 2 shots for Uniclus. Choice Banded Shadow Claw is a chance to 2-shot Gourgeist. I believe after Rocks it will, especially if I'm in the sand, because I can get rid of leftovers and stuff. So if I can get a Toxic onto those things with my Zapdos, get them a little bit whittled down, all I need to do is predict it correctly sometimes with Excadrill, and it can just punch some holes in my opponent's team. I didn't really see any point of running Mold Breaker this week because it doesn't help me beat anything on his team particularly, whereas Sand Rush, if he does bring the Sand Rush core of Tyranitar and Stoutland, or if he just brings Sandstream Tyranitar for whatever reason, then I have a +2 speed Excadrill with a Choice Band, which is just going to be fantastic. I have enough speed investment to outspeed Stoutland. That's a full max speed Jolly Stoutland. I didn't want to speed creep Adamant just in case. So this was my other, if he does have enough speed to outspeed my Gardevoir, for example, this is my other potential check to Stoutland in the sand, as well as just having bulky things like the Zapdos around. Because a Choice Banded Earthquake, even though Stoutland is fairly bulky, a Choice Banded Earthquake will do a lot because Excadrill is freaking powerful. Other than that, he doesn't really have a very good switch into this thing outside of the Gourgeist, which is why I'm running Shadow Claw. And like I said, if I can get that thing whittled, then he doesn't really have a good switch in at all. And then Stealth Rocks, because as I said, his only hazard removal is Blastoise. I can get a lot of momentum from that thing, and so I want it to be forced to spin as often as possible, and I just want to get up rocks, spikes, etc. to just get chip damage on his team. Now the next spot on my team is actually Flareon, making its debut for the team. This is a fairly standard a PU set, Choice Banded, Flareon. Normally they run Flash Fire and PU, but because my opponent doesn't really have any fire moves that I'm worried about, except for like maybe Flamethrower or Fire Blast on Mega or Dino. Other than that, I don't see him bringing a fire move on anything, really. Maybe Will-O-Wisp on Goldgeist, but again, I think it's safe to go with Guts in case I get Toxic by something. I can't really think of anything else that would go for Toxic, like Mega or Dino, I guess. Or if he runs Toxic Spikes, then I can get this thing and get it poisoned, and then I'm firing off Guts boosted poisoned for Sards, not Sards, Leblitzes, and everything's gonna be ow. Again, this is kind of there as a secondary check to the likes of Reuniclus or Mega or Dino, because even though I'm not hitting them super effectively, I do actually 2-hit KO both of them with Choice Banded Leblitz, which is really nice. He doesn't really have a great switch into this thing other than the Blastoise, so as I said, if I can get that thing whittled, then I can beat it really easily, and that's part of why I have Baton Pass, because if I'm predicting him to go into the Blastoise, I can Baton Pass out on that switch and go back into something like my Roserade, my Gardevoir setup, my Zapdos, etc. Something that does do a lot of damage to it. I also have Baton Pass because he can potentially switch in Tyranitar, and if I don't feel comfortable going for Superpower on that prediction, then I have Baton Pass out. I'm not running enough speed for Speedy Tyranitar because I figure he's either going to be speedy with a Choice Scarf or he's not going to run speed investment at all and prefer to go with Bolt. So I am actually running enough speed to outspeed an uninvested Blastoise. So that means that I can Baton Pass out on it if I end up in that matchup, and everything else I should be able to outspeed, like Metagross. If it doesn't run speed, I can outspeed it. I will guaranteed outspeed like the Mega or Dino, Reuniclus, etc., which is what this thing was brought for anyway. And I should be able to outspeed any Goldgeist, unless he runs like offensive, which I don't think is very good against my team. And I can just smack it in the face with Choice Banded Leblitz and basically get some kills. So hopefully Flareon is going to do work. I do have Quick Attack there because I don't really need any other move. Like, there's literally nothing I'm more likely to click. And if his team gets really whittled down, like say Stoutland is a Life Orb set in the sand, for example, and I get off a big chunk of damage with like Choice Banded Excadrill, and then I need something to just revenge it quickly, I can go into this. I have Choice Banded Quick Attack, it does like 20% to most things on his team, barring obviously like Metagross and Tyranitar. So everything else I can probably revenge kill with a CB Quick Attack if I get them low enough, and that could potentially be useful. Now the last mon on my team is the last component of my offensive core, and that is Megalophony. So I'm bringing a very different Megalophony set. I'm bringing Sub, Encore, Return, and Low Kick. So I'm not running High Jump Kick because I feel like there are too many things that can run Protect, and I don't want to deal with those mind games at this point. And Low Kick is a 120 base power move against the only two things that I really need fighting coverage for, which are the Metagross and the Tyranitar. So both of those drop to 2 low kicks, which is, unless they run like physically defensive Metagross, I think. In that case, then I can whittle it down because it doesn't get recovery, etc. And then I'm running Sub and Encore. Now this is, in case his switch in is like Reuniclus, for example, I can sub up after I hit it with Return on the switch in, say, and then I sub up, predicting him to go for like Calm Mind or Recover, and then I can Encore him into it and actually beat him with Return at that point. This is also a bit of a panic button in case things start going wrong. His best switch into this is actually the Mega or Dino. So if he brings physically defensive Mega or Dino, again, same thing. I hit it with Return on the switch in, I can predict to go for Wish because that's all Mega or Dino ever does. As I sub up, and then I can Encore it, I can get a big damage after that. If I Encore it into Wish, it will be getting recovery progressively, but I can basically PP stall it out, which if I have to PP stall out a Mega or Dino, I will. So I have enough speed on this thing to outspeed that Tornado's T, which should mean I outspeed everything on his team that isn't Scarfed. And I will double check this, but I believe I outspeed Scarf Tyranitar. If I don't, I might change my investment, and I might also look at outspeeding Scarf Metagross. I will actually look into that, and will probably change the spread depending on how much speed I need. In any case, that is going to be the team. Like I said, this set will change a little bit. I hope you're looking forward to the battle, which will be going up tomorrow for the YOLO League. In any case, I hope you guys did enjoy it, and I'll see you in my next upload.